Hello and welcome to the SAP Tech Talks podcast, the podcast that explores the latest innovations, trends, and best practices in the world of SAP. I'm your host, Hanna Klein, the SAP Tech Talks coordinator and the founder of the SAP Tech Talks podcast show. Today we're going to dive deep into the fascinating intersection of project management, agile practices, and SAP projects. It's no secret that SAP projects are known for their scale, complexity, and mission-critical role, and definitely they come with their fair share of challenges. To help us navigate this topic, we're excited to have Alina Tikhonova, SAP Project and Delivery Manager, and Yanina Tarasenko, Certified Agile Coach and Scrum Master, joining us today. We will explore why SAP projects are often considered complex, how Agile methodologies can successfully be applied in this space, and what the future holds for SAP project management. So let's get started. Ladies, can you briefly introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello everyone, my name is Yanina Tarasenko. I have the overall experience in IT around 7 years and also specific experience with SAP around 4 years. As mentioned previously, I'm working now also as Agile coach at EPAM, and I can mention that also I have a lot of certifications in Agile, for example, from the Scrum org, also Kanban University, and of course, almost all certification in SAFe framework. And I hope that today I could share some useful thoughts with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Alina, please tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Alina and I'm the delivery project manager for one of our SAP projects. In IT, I live overall 12 years, I believe. Yeah, so I've worked in different areas. So yeah, I've got plenty of experience working on different projects with different stacks and amount of people, I would say.
All right, let's get started, and we'll begin with understanding SAP projects and why they are often considered so complex. So, Alina, the first question goes to you. Can you briefly explain what SAP projects are and why they are often considered mission-critical for businesses?
So, SAP projects typically involve implementing or upgrading enterprise software solution that helps businesses manage their operation. It could be financial and banks, right? Procurement or HR, or for example, some microsites that are dedicated to special events. They consider complex because SAP systems cover different departments, integrate with a wide range of other systems, and they often require different kinds of customization to fit each company's unique processes. And since they are mission critical because they impact business operations and decision making. For example, my boyfriend, he's a business owner, and one of their company activities is to take part in different tenders. So, and the platform that they use is a SAP platform, and it was developed quite a long time ago, but since tons of people keep using it, they don't change it because it will be risk, to put different kinds of companies and businesses out of the platform for some time. Yeah, so it covers a lot of large factories and business companies.
And actually, speaking of complexity, could you walk us through the typical stages of an SAP implementation project? And what role does, in your opinion, project management play in these stages?
Yeah, somebody will say that a project manager is not needed anymore. For example, some of the developers, I would say. But usually SAP covers all the parts of SDLC, that is planning and blueprinting, design, implementation, go-live support, consultancy, as SAP one of our biggest clients, and we work together with EPAM for around 25 years, as far as I know. That is why they are our friends, and we try to cover all the stages and all levels where we could help them, to enlarge and boost their businesses. And project managers play critical role, surely I would say that, because the coordination needed to align the teams, track progresses, manage risks, ensure that all the dependencies are set and cleared, and surely that the project is all right along with the schedule. Yeah, so it's I would say it's the glue, that holds the entire process together.
Great, thank you for your explanation. And now we have established that SAP projects are complex, but I'm sure there are some recurring challenges that project managers might face. Based on your experience, what are the biggest challenges in managing large-scale SAP projects?
Well, one of the biggest is managing competing priorities across different stakeholders, and especially when each department has its own workflow and needs. And as I said, they require different kinds of customization. Another major hurdle is handling the complexities of integration, for example, ensuring that SAP works seamlessly with legacy systems. So they also bring a different kind of surprises, I would say, when it's data issue or change request or compliance. That is why you need to keep everything in the heads written, and that everyone knows what to do when such kind of surprises pop up.
Exactly. And now let's talk more about methodologies. It's not a big secret that SAP implementations in the past mainly relied on traditional waterfall methods. Why do you think waterfalls sometimes fall short, especially when we are addressing changing requirements or tight deadlines?
Maybe Yanina will correct me here, but Waterfall works well for projects with clear fixed requirements, and SAP projects rarely, fit into that mold. Requirements often involve different kinds of changes as stakeholders better understand the system capabilities or business needs, and they always bring you different kinds of shifts, changes, and Waterfall doesn't easily accommodate these kinds of mid-project changes, which can result, in delays of rework. Tight timelines also make Waterfall challenging, as there is limited room for iteration or course correction. And surely, as we are open to any feedback, we need, to quickly grasp the changes, requests, and integrate it into the system so that our stakeholders and users can proceed with doing their business without any kind of interaction. So that's why more teams are moving towards Agile, and it allows for incremental progress and greater flexibility and adaptability.
Yeah, absolutely agree with Alina.
Great, thank you for your answers. And now let's dive deeper into the topic of Agile. Yanina, in your opinion, what are the key benefits of adopting Agile in SAP projects? And are there any specific Agile frameworks like Scrum, Kanban, or Scaled Agile framework that you think work particularly well in the SAP context?
So if we speak probably in general about Agile practices, of course, they bring immense value. And as the key benefits, we can mention the following, flexibility and fast adaptation, incremental delivery, risk reduction, cross-functional collaboration, and focus on value and quality. And if we speak about the choice of the Agile framework or approach in general, so often it depends on different criteria, and first of all about the nature of your requirements, on your scale, project complexity, and team maturity.
Perfect. And now let's get more practical. How do you usually implement Agile in SAP projects, especially when there may be resistance from stakeholders who are used to traditional waterfall methods?
Implementing Agile, of course, especially in the face of resistance, requires a thoughtful approach. And in my opinion, it should include balanced education and stakeholder alignment and showcasing early successes to build trust. And resistance often stems from stakeholders not very familiar with Agile or misunderstanding it. And in my experience, usually they might be against upfront planning, time needed for meetings, of course, and also the use of Agile elements like definition of done, relative estimation, correct Jira usage, etc., etc. But in contrast, Agile is a change that takes time, but delivers immense value once embraced. And here how I approach the implementation. So first of all, I prefer to start with the education to bridge the knowledge gap. And in my opinion, this is the first step in helping stakeholders understanding why Agile practices are beneficial. And as a practices, I use workshops, trainings, clarifying misconceptions. I remember that we did a great series of user story workshops for IT and business stakeholders. So we explained from the beginning what it means, the user story, how to write it, how to analyze, how to go from an epic to a small user story, and what might be responsibilities of different sites. And also we clarified the expectations. And I can say that really after this series of workshop, the result, it was just immediate. After that, I think that it's good to build trust by starting small. In my opinion, also this is the main mistake of young Agile coaches or Scrum Masters who come to the team, and without understanding probably the context, they would like to set up Agile by the book, framework by the book, but the process working in one team probably won't work in another team or in another context. And especially if we speak about SAP projects, they might have some restrictions. And I think that rather than insisting on an overnight Agile transformation, I would advocate for a phased approach. And as a practices, you can use pilot Agile in smaller scope, or you can use a practice like create quick wins. Because when you show these early wins, like delivering a working piece of functionality or solving a critical pain point, of course, it builds trust and confidence that this approach might work in the context. And in general, when we speak about any changes and when we speak about the theory, so usually we say that Agile is compared with a kind of revolution. And why? Because in general, when we speak about Agile, we speak about some kind of frameworks, something like Scrum or SAFe. And why? Because such frameworks, they say you what kind of roles, events, and artifacts you need to set up. And even if you read the Scrum guide, it said that if you don't use at least one element of this framework, you can't call it Scrum. You can call it whatever, but not Scrum. But from the other side, when you speak about Kanban, and let me also mention that Kanban is not an Agile framework. It's mostly the approach. So we speak about evolutionary changes because nothing is prescribed and you can implement just the practices that are suitable and applicable for your context. And Kanban even has the approach for those evolutionary changes, and it's called stressor reflection leadership. What it means? The stressor means that there is something in your context or in your team and your processes that you don't like particularly and you would like to change it. It means that you are already ready to discuss it and probably you won't have the resistance. The next step is called reflection. It means that, of course, you need to reflect on it, to reflect on your stressor, to reflect on potential steps that you need to take. And the last step is called leadership. It means already that there should be someone who takes responsibility and who implement all the changes in reality. And I'm an absolute fan of this approach because it really works and it brings immense value. And in general, in my opinion, if you would like to really change something, you need to think about whether there is something that you don't like in one or another setup. The next step that you might take is called engaging stakeholders regularly, because of course resistance sometimes comes from stakeholders feeling out of the loop or uncertain about deliverables. And you can use the practices like active involvement, frequent feedback loops, and also, in my opinion, it's very important to deliver everything you commit to, or to at least deliver, let's say, the main part of something you commit to, because it's created the real trust from stakeholders. And probably the last thing in fighting with resistance is making sure that in your team there are people who will support your suggestions or your decisions. For example, in my team, if I would like to implement any kind of change, I usually discuss it with my architect, with my product owner, and only after that we present it together to the business colleagues, or just we start with the retro point, and after that we're ready to discuss it in the bigger round. So probably here as a closing thought, I would like to say that resistance to Agile and resistance in general in any area of life is natural. However, if we educate our stakeholders, if we start small and adopt frameworks to our context, probably we can transform resistance into enthusiasm.
Well, I can add here that resistancy is our third name of the project, because we have like around 100 and with something people, and when we try to change something, like we will find a bunch of people, a group of people who always they are against. They don't want to change something. But once, for example, we do adjustments, they come and say like, yeah, it was a good idea after all. But yeah, you need to go through that resistance, without any hysteria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, sometimes there are the situations where you can't make everyone happy. Yeah, absolutely everyone happy. And sometimes there are the changes that are dictated by the management. And also here you can only agree. In this case, we might think, how to apply these new changes to our setup. Yeah, what can be done. Probably. Yeah, the only way here.
It is what it is, yeah.
Fantastic. So let's go further. Based on your experience, what are some common pitfalls that teams may face when introducing agile practices to SAP projects?
In my opinion, adopting agile practices, it's a rewarding journey, but of course it's not without its challenges. And there are common pitfalls, and let me share probably my top list. And the first of them, this is the agile cargo cult. It means that sometimes we try to apply agile practices in a very rigid, by-the-book way, and without tailoring the framework to suit the unique project context. It's not right, probably. After that, I would like to say that Agile sometimes is seen as a silver bullet, and teams and management might have very unrealistic expectations toward it. Yeah, they think that Agile can fully embrace all possible challenges and resolve any issues. But yeah, of course, unfortunately, in reality not like that. Sometimes, of course, we might have this resistance to change, and it seems to us that implementing one or another process or change is quite simple, but it might not be so, because we're working with the people. Yeah, here it's not only some mechanics, but also a kind of psychology. People might have different reasons to be against something. And the last point, probably the lack of proper trainings, and as a result, misunderstanding of framework, roles, and responsibilities.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes such things happen. So with so many options available, how can organizations decide whether to go fully agile or adopt a hybrid model for their SAP implementation projects?
So how to decide whether to go agile or not? And in my opinion, this is one of the most popular questions in general. And to gain a clearer understanding, let's refer to the Kinevin model developed by Dave Snowden. And so this model helps us classify situations into 4 domains: simple one, complicated one, complex one, and chaotic one. And these are all domains which will describe, let's say, the nature of your requirements mostly. So if we speak about the simple domain, so here the cause and effect are clear and a predefined algorithm is used to respond. And a good example might be cooking a cake. Yeah, for cooking a cake, it's very simple. You need just have a recipe and you need just to go step by step of this recipe. And by the end, you will have a cake. So everyone can do it. And probably, in this case, Agile is not needed. Yeah, if we speak about similar project when everything is clear for you. The next kind of domain is called complicated, and it involves already less clear cause and effect, and it requires expertise to solve. And a good example might be a construction of a factory or a construction of a bridge. Probably, it's not so simple as cooking a cake. Probably not everyone can do that, but still the task is quite, let's say, simple. If you have certain expertise and also following some steps, you will have a result. And probably the same with the project. If your requirements are not very simple, but still they are known, you need just put them in order and to follow them step by step. So probably as well, Agile is not needed in such circumstances. The next domain is called complex. And if we speak about the complex domain, so it has already a retrospective understanding of cause and effect, and it requires experimentation and adjustment. And a good example might be raising a child. You can't predict that one or another action will produce one or another result. And the same probably in our work. If we are working in the context where we understand that today we can make a plan, but we're not sure that, for example, in a month, in a year, we will have the same plan and our result will be the same that we are planning today. It's not possible. Certainly, in such context, waterfall approach or hybrid approach won't work. We need agile approach because we need to experiment and to adjust accordingly based on the feedback. And the last domain is called chaotic. And in this chaotic domain, it lacks any connection between cause and effect. And it necessitates immediate action and subsequent adjustment. And a good example might be COVID-19 or, for example, volcano eruption. And of course, here we also understand we can't speak about, waterfallish approach in this case, or any hybrid approach. Of course, if we have such nature of requirements, we would need agile approach because we need to make something immediately. And after that, to check the result and to make the adjustments. So everywhere where your requirements are clear, understandable, well structured, you don't need agile. But in case you have other situations, as we described, like for complex and chaotic domains, of course, you would need agile.
Okay, let's shift our focus on the future of SAP project management. Looking ahead, we're seeing rapid advances in automation, AI, and predictive analytics. In your opinion, how does these technologies change project management practices for SAP projects?
That's a good question. So I think that project manager for SAP, and not to be honest, not only for SAP, will become increasingly data-driven. That's, for example, EPAM focuses on as well as automation and AI tools gain traction. Predictive analytics will play a bigger role in the risk management, helping delivery managers, project managers anticipate challenges before they happen. Automation could align repetitive tasks like tracking milestones or managing documentation, freeing up our time, to do the strategic decision making. For example, even AI tools for resource planning could help optimize team allocations and timelines. It could be also like a helper or assistant, to do different kinds of helping with different kinds of options, I would say. I'm pretty sure that these technologies will make project management more proactive and efficient. Yeah, no way.
And regarding your experience, have you already tried to use it? Do you use it, for example, right now for your project?
Yeah, I do. For example, I'm using AI tool or ChatGPT, to brainstorming what is needed, what kind of tools we may use, what kind of challenges and pitfalls we may face with. And I know that surely the information need to go through like in a filtered way, I would say, but nevertheless it really helps to see the whole range of like option ideas, maybe like what kind of risks you need to take into account. So it's a good thing. For example, before it could be a meeting, right? It could be like a brainstorming session, but because I have my core team always busy with like challenges and workshops and other stuff, so it just will help our team, to decrease the time that we spend usually on different kind of meetings.
It's quite interesting. Previously, we required a lot of people for brainstorming, yeah, and lots of time. And right now, we need one person and one AI tool. It's fantastic.
And scary. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, I would agree. Yanina, what about you? Have you tried already to use AI on your projects?
Yeah, for sure. I try to do it multiple times, but to be honest, in my usual work, in my daily routine, I use it, for probably writing good emails from my side, the kind of feedbacks. But also, a few seconds ago, you discussed that you need only one person and just a few minutes to produce the result. I remember that once I went to the training in EPAM, it was dedicated to AI, and we were divided into groups, and the task we were given was to describe a persona. Yeah, we were just given kind of imaginary project and its vision and just a few information about a potential persona. And we needed to make, let's say, a beautiful text on it. And we were given 15 minutes. And to be honest, the results that we produced in a group of 5 people were just around probably 8 words, something like that. Yeah, it wasn't a beautiful text. But when you put this information into AI tool, yeah, and ask AI to generate a kind of persona, just in a second, you have, as Alina mentioned, a very good skeleton, and you can at least reflect on it. Probably the information is not 100% right, yeah, and adjust it to your context, but at least it produces great results.
Great, thank you for sharing your experience with us. Okay, let's move forward. And we will continue our discussion with speaking more about Agile certifications. I'm sure there are people among our audience who would like to know more about specific Agile training programs or Agile certifications that can help level up their knowledge. Yanina, can you please navigate us here?
Yeah, so probably I will list some recommendations regarding the certifications, and they will be applicable across all industries, but of course including SAP. And let's start probably with the basics. And the first certification, it's Certified Scrum Master or Professional Scrum Master. And why I find this useful, because it focuses on the fundamentals of Scrum. And even if we said that SAFe framework is used in SAP, still an understanding of Scrum, it's just a basic for every Scrum Master and Agile coach. And yeah, in general, it's one of the most commonly used frameworks across our industry. And yeah, this certification, they will help you to understand Scrum roles, events, and how to guide teams using iterative delivery. The next one might be Kanban certification. And if you go to the Kanban University site, you will be that there are multiple of them. But the issue is that in Kanban, you can't just cherry pick and to choose the certifications that you would like to get. Yeah, you start to pass all the certifications step by step. And the first one that you can get is called Kanban Management Professional. It includes 2 courses, Kanban System Design and Kanban System Improvements. And I think that it's particularly effective for operational and maintenance and also usual development projects. And these certifications, they equip us with the skills to optimize the workflows, visualize tasks, and limit bottlenecks. Well, and the last and probably the most important one, of course, SAFe certification. if you go to the skill.com site, also you will see a lot of certifications. And in this case, in case of SAVE, you can choose any certification you would like to pass. But to be honest, I would have a recommendation here. I like very much how those courses are structured in EPAM. For example, first of all, it's recommended and it's like a prerequisite for all other courses. This is the course which is called Leading SAFe. Yeah, so first of all, I would recommend to pass this certification because it gives you the whole overview on the framework from different sides, from different role perspectives, from different competencies, etc. So for me, it was at least the most difficult and the most important certification. And after that, you can pass already the certification for different branches. For example, for Scrum Masters and Agile coaches, we have the certification like SAFe Scrum Master, SAFe Advanced Scrum Master, SAFe RTE. For product owners, product managers, you have SAFe POPM, SAFe Agile Product Management, and SAFe Lean Portfolio Management. And also you have some courses for developers like SAFe for Architect, and some courses for everyone who works in SAFe but probably don't want to go very deep in the details, like SAFe for Teams or SAFe DevOps, which gives you also the whole overview on how we develop our software. But in general, working as a Scrum Master or Agile coach in SAP today, it requires from your side the coordination across multiple teams and programs. And of course, SAFe certification will help you to learn how to scale Agile practices effectively for large and complex projects.
Fantastic. Thank you for your detailed explanation and great examples. And speaking actually of your favorite resources, can you probably name some of your favorite books, blogs, videos, or anything else you would recommend our listeners who want to dive deeper into the topic of Agile and project management?
So if I speak about my favorite books, I would recommend Agile Estimating and Planning by Mike Cohn, and also The Lean Startup by Eric Rice. If we speak about the blogs, to be honest, I would recommend to read only the official information. There are enough informations on skilledagile.com site, scrum.org.com, and Kanban University, because on the internet you can find also a lot of articles, but sometimes its quality is not the best one. And if we speak about video, I can recommend some YouTube channels. To be honest, I don't watch them a lot, but at the time I did that. I liked very much Alexey Pimenov. He's a Kanban trainer, but unfortunately his videos are only in Russian. And I liked very much the YouTube channel called Scrum Ukraine. And this is the YouTube channel run by Alexey Krivitsky and Evgeny Labunsky. And the videos are in 3 languages, Ukrainian, Russian, and English.
Thanks, Yanina. Alina, can you please share with us your must-read or must-see resources?
Well, I like David Anderson's School of Management. I think that I watched a lot of his videos. He's fun and has practical knowledge as well. And I like that he applies examples, like practical usage of the things that he explains. So this guy is one of my favorite knowledge keeper, I would say. In some kind of. But besides that, different kind of management 3.0, not sure if they have 4 or 5 already. And besides that, I don't have anything to be added here. It could be TED Talks sometimes, but you need, to review the exact ones. Because some of them have a lot of water inside.
Amazing. And I think that's it for our today's episode. A huge thank you to our incredible guests, Alina and Yanina, for sharing their expertise with us today. We hope you, our listeners, enjoyed our discussion and gained valuable insights along the way. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never miss an episode. And if you found this conversation helpful, feel free to leave us your feedback or share it with someone who might benefit. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care and keep moving forward.